So yesterday we signed Mike Pennel to our practice squad with the concept that we will be elevating him to the active roster early in the season to go ahead and help us out with our run defense. And if you look at the preseason, our run defense was awful. We gave 176 yards on average in all three preseason games. So it was really atrocious. Nonetheless, though, the more I'm reading about the guy, the more I'm really starting to like this guy. Keep in mind, this guy came from the Kansas City Chiefs last year, so obviously it's not like he's a nobody. It's a 34-year-old veteran who really knows what he's doing. So last year he had 365 snaps, which again, I'm not going to say he was the number one reason why the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl. But at the same time, he definitely helps out a lot, especially in the Super Bowl where Saquon Barkley was pretty much kept in check. Unfortunately for the Chiefs, nothing else was kept in check. It was just Saquon Barkley. Everything else was kind of a mess, which is funny because their pass rush really wasn't the greatest, but the run stuffing was actually pretty decent, and that's exactly the guy we got from them. Based on what I've seen, Chiefs fans are upset about this because they actually like this guy, and this guy was not expected to get cut. This guy is not like this guy's like a buns. He's actually a pretty good option. So I'm very happy that we got him, and I'm very excited to see what he can give us. Again, we need any help in our run support as we can get. So this is a really good option. So they asked him, why did he sign with Cincinnati? And he said, pretty much plain and simple, Super Bowl. So here's his exact quote. He says, but not every team is on the brink of winning the Super Bowl. Cincinnati is one of those teams every year they got a chance for a Super Bowl with 9 at quarterback. That's a big part of it, which, again, yes, that's a really mainstay reason why some free agents are going to want to come here and are continuously want to come here is to play with number 9, because obviously Joe gives you that ability to potentially go win a Super Bowl any given year. So I'm not surprised that he wanted to come here to play because, again, yeah, that's something that, listen, in KC, obviously, he has, he had a chance to win a Super Bowl. I believe he won 2 Super Bowls in KC. But this is probably the next best thing after KC to have actually win a Super Bowl. I mean, you're not going to Baltimore to win a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson in the playoffs are, oof. And in all honesty, looking at all the teams in the AFC-wise, we're the only other team that really has a chance. Bills always choke in the playoffs. You're not really worried about that. NFC-wise, obviously, you got the Packers now. You got the Eagles every single year. So, again, there's only a certain amount of teams who I really think could have the quarterback to go through the playoffs and go to the Super Bowl and actually have been to the Super Bowl. He continues, says they have premier players at each position. The division they're in is hard playoffs football most of the time. Just an edge to come play good football for a good team. When you play long enough, you know everything. You know a little bit about everything. His statue, this is obviously our coach speaking out Golden. His statue, his reputation, the fact he wanted to be here, these are important things to us, and he brings a physical presence, and obviously he can still do it at his age, which is great. He's probably 320 pounds. He's got length. He just understands the game, can make this game small. We're going to work really hard to get him up to speed with the playbook and see where he's at by the end of the week. And yeah, so again, like I said, I'm really, really loving this guy, and I can't wait to see what else we learn about him and see what he can do once the season does kick off. Again, any help in the run defense we can get, we're going to be very, very thankful for. So excited to see how this ends up turning out, guys. But definitely tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I saw not honestly a lot, but I saw some hate comments towards signing him. Listen, at the end of the day, you always got to keep in mind where it's not like we're giving him like a $1 billion contract, okay? We're giving him a no-nothing contract. Nothing guaranteed, nothing crazy. But again, if it works out, awesome. This is another thing I've always said when it comes to free agents is, everyone's a yes depending on the price tag. Because if you give someone a no-nothing contract with nothing guaranteed, there really isn't a downside to have that player. If let's say you go into a game and they do bad, okay, you get rid of that player, right? If there's nothing guaranteed, you just get rid of them. You move on. You just don't care, right? I mean, well, he messed up in the game. Okay, maybe he messed up 1, 2, 3 plays. You move on. It is what it is, right? So that's kind of my mindset. As long as you have nothing guaranteed. Once you have like guaranteed money, then it becomes a whole entire thing. But when there's no guaranteed money, you can just cut a guy, move on to the next guy. So that's kind of my mindset with this. And most free agents, obviously, there's rules and stipulations. But for most free agents, it's, hey, if there's nothing tying us to this guy, why not pick him up, see what he can do? If he can do something good, awesome. If he can't, then we cut him, we move on, and we wipe our hands with it. So, again, it's just my little mindset with this one and other guys moving forward. But I do hope he is that guy. I hope he does help us out. And, listen, I'm happy he wants to be here. I think that's like step one. That's like step one of players. Important thing for a player to go to a team. Do you like the team? Yes. Now, there's also a situation where he knows, again, 355 snaps last year with the Chiefs and more snaps with the Chiefs in previous years. This is not a guy who doesn't know the Chiefs' defense. So, there's also a level of picking his brain to kind of see, what does he know, what doesn't he know, and we can also kind of go off of there, too. So, there's also that kind of inside scoop on the Chiefs' defense, because Spags is still their defensive coordinator. It's not like they have a whole new defense. Spags has been their defense coordinator now forever. So anything that he knows, the Chiefs are still going to run. Like, the Chiefs still run the same defense. So, again, there's not always the case where you pick up a guy and he instantly can tell you every little detail about a team and their defense. But sometimes, you get a little bit extra, information about a rival like that. And it's always nice. So, that's kind of my mindset. Especially because he recently played with them last year. See you guys next one, though. Peace out.